Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's edition of Free Training Friday for Amicus Attorney. Today we'll be going over the Amicus Attorney mobile app, and we have with us today Andrew Cummins. He is our Amicus Attorney Product Manager. My name is Kaylee White. I am a Marketing Coordinator for Amicus Next, and this will be about a 30-minute free training. We will take your questions during the last 10 minutes, so feel free to input your questions in the questions section of the GoToWebinar control panel. And with that, I will let Andrew take over. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, Kaylee. Thanks very much. And thanks to everyone for taking part in our session today. We're going to dive in, as we said, specifically on the mobile app that is coming very soon for Amicus Attorney. So let's jump right into the PowerPoint here. And just a couple of things I want to cover. One is obviously about the mobile app, what you can expect. I want to spend most of the time, however, with the demonstration so you can really see what the app is all about. Then we'll talk about some requirements. And as we said, please feel free to enter any questions you have into the question pane on the right-hand side, and we can certainly answer any of those questions at the end of the session. So let's get started right then and talk about what the mobile app is. One, this is a new app that is designed specifically for iOS and Android devices. So once it is released to the general public, you will simply be able to go to the App Store for iOS devices or to Google Play for Android and be able to download that, and that'll be available internationally, so you'll be able to access that in the U.S., Canada, and elsewhere, certainly. So when we're talking about a mobile app, what are we looking at? Well, you can actually see a screenshot on the screen is showing the basic navigation, and that is that you can see right off the bat, we've got easy access to your client files, great time tracking and ability to see all your time entries and also to make sure that you don't forget to do time entries. Easy to keep track of phone calls that you're making from your phone. It's also easy to take notes as you're working away, and then also importantly, the mobile app itself actually has a local database on your phone such that you can actually keep working away even if you don't connect to the internet and you're not able to start working offline if you're in the subway or elsewhere. You can certainly work away. So we're going to jump in and actually take a look at this in the app itself. So we're going to fire up my phone here. And you'll see just appear on the screen in just a second. And we're going to pop over here. Okay, so what I've actually brought up is we're showing the phone to the right-hand side, and then I've actually got Amicus Attorney itself in the background, just so that you can actually just make this always on top, so that you can see all of the details. So we're just going to click on the option up at the very top here, just the little meat stack, and that is the main navigation. That'll open it up and show us all of the functionality. The idea here is this is not intended to replace your Amicus Attorney desktop. This is instead intended to give you easy access to the information that is most pertinent that you need in your pocket when you're on the road. So, of course, you'll still want to go back and use Amicus Anywhere or your desktop itself in order to do lots of the work, but of course you have easy access to the most important information while you're working away. So again, from the main navigation, we can see you've got your client files, your time entries, phone calls, notes, and we'll also take a look at the settings and what it means to be signing out, that kind of thing as well. So let's just jump in right off the bat and click on to Files. So in the main navigation, we'll just select Files, and that will bring up a list that you'll notice at the top. It's called Recent Files. And I want to highlight this because we're looking at recent files here, but you'll notice in Amicus Attorney, just to the left-hand side, that the same user has access to a lot more files than the ones that are actually being listed in the mobile app itself. And the reason for that is when we're filtering to show the recent files, those are files that have actually had activities on them recently, and that means a phone call has been recorded, a time entry has been recorded, or a note. And that means it's automatically synchronized to your phone. However, if you don't see a file on your phone and you know you want to access it, you can just click onto the search option at the top and type in that you want to look for the widget.co file, for instance. click search. Oh no, that's disappointing. We'd be able to actually go and download that one locally to our device, and then we'd see it there. So my demo environment is a bit of an issue, but that's okay. We can still proceed with the rest of the demonstration itself. So let's actually jump in and see what we can see on our specific files. So Janet Bailey, the Bailey Rekipling one in Amicus Attorney. Let's actually open that one up in Amicus right here, and we can see details. And then we'll go over on our mobile device and take a look there as well. So we'll just click or tap onto the Bailey Rekipling, and we can see the important details. So we've got basically the client ID, matter ID, the file type. I can see the primary client, any other context on the file, the open date status, and also the file summary. So I can get myself up to speed. And I have easy access to that. I can also see from the contacts themselves, I can click onto Janet Bailey. So if I just click onto her, tap on my phone, it'll open up her contacts and allow me to see, well, both her business and her cell phone, as well as her email address. If I go to the back button up at the very top, I can get back to the main one, and I can do the same thing to drill down onto Douglas or onto our Kipling as well. Of course, I can also just click onto either one of these icons here to send an email or make a phone call. And that's really where the mobile app really excels, and that is that you've opened up a client file and you're on the road and you need to quickly reach out to Janet and to make a phone call. So let's demonstrate that sort of workflow right off the bat. We're going to click just click on the phone icon itself, and it pulls up from the bottom and recognizes that, as we saw a moment ago, Janet actually had two different phone numbers, so it allows us to choose which phone number we want to make that call to. We can just click onto the business phone, and it then allows us to click the call option, and it's now placing that call. This is just calling it from your actual phone itself. That's not a real number, so it's not going to go through. We'll just end that, but what you will notice right off the bat is that it comes up and recognizes that, hey, you just made a phone call, and in this case we spent 11 seconds on that phone call, but it knows that we made a call and asks us if we want to record the details of said phone call. And for our purposes, we do want to, because this is recording the actual work that I've done for my legal practice. I want to make sure that I record the details of this such that I can see that later on the Bailey Rekipling file, or more importantly, anyone else in the office can see the same. So I just clicked to create the new phone call record. It already has it assigned to the appropriate client file. It's got it tagged to Janet Bailey and the phone number that we had called to. And it also has the description filled out for us. And in this case, it has a duration of, well, it was very short, so it didn't actually even pick up that at all. We can click onto the description itself and then add more details, but of course that's already been filled out for us as well. And we'll just choose to click Done up at the top so that that is complete, and then click the Done button as well. And here's now where it allows us to make sure that we can record the time that we spent on that call. And so not only do we have the details of the phone call in the communications in Amicus Attorney, but now we're going to have a time entry recorded so that we can bill for this later. So we'll just say yes to this prompt, and it then brings up a fully formatted timesheet for us that, again, it's on the file. In this case, it's using the minimum duration that we've set for in Amicus Attorney, such that it knows it was 0.1, even though it was only 11 seconds. We've gone up to the minimum duration. Depending on the file, you can have your activity and task codes, and then also the description has been filled out for you. Of course, you can go and drill down and choose to modify that as necessary. But just like that, if we go up to the very top and click the Done option, we've now gone and made a phone call to Janet, recorded the details of said phone call, also created the time entry so that we can go and later on bill for that. I want to very quickly show a very similar workflow, and that is that we wanted to send an email to Janet Bailey. So we'll just click on to the little email icon itself, and it allows us to send an email to Janet Bailey. We would just click the email option. It brings up our outgoing email, and again, it's filled in. The subject is based on our file name. It's filled in that it knows it's to Janet Bailey, so that's Dear Janet Bailey. It includes whatever your regular signature is on your device. This happens to be a regular iPhone signature. You can then type in whatever you want in the body of the message, and then go up to the top and just press send. And again, just like the phone call, it now knows that we spent some time on this email and wants to make sure that we can go ahead and record the time. So it knows we spent 24 seconds on this. We can go to yes and choose to now create that time entry. And just like the phone call, I don't want to repeat myself, but we filled in the minimum duration. We can go and put in more description here if we want, but simply click the done option at the top. And we have now gone and created the, we sent our email to the client and also gone and recorded that time entry as well. So now let's just jump out of here for a second and we'll go to the back option at the top left. And that'll take us back to our list of files. Let's not play around with files too much more because we don't have a lot of time. Let's go back and clicking on the main navigation in the top left, it will take us back here. And from there, let's jump in and take a look at our time entries. And that is, we'll just click on to time entries here. And that brings up the list of all of our time entries. And we can see I've got a total, I've done 2 time entries today and I did a couple yesterday. Again, this is all of my time entries. This isn't intended to manage your entire firm's list of time entries for the day or the week or whatever duration you're looking at. You can, however, choose to search for ones to filter out. And there's also a little gear at the top, and you'll see that in the other modules. So you can click the gear, and that can choose how these are actually filtered. So under status, you could choose to look for all or just posted or unposted time entries. If we click done, you can also change the date range, which generally is set to 7 days, but I've just put it up to 30 for our demonstration today. We click done, and it changes the filtering that we are looking at there. And then you can also choose, because this might be important, is if you wanted to see time entries just related to a particular file type, that you can go and filter based on that as well. But we'll go back up to back here, and when we click done, we see now our time entries themselves here. So the obviously very easy to go and create those, but two, if I need to make changes to them afterwards, I can, of course, do that, and those will be updated accordingly back in Amicus Attorney. So we'll just go and click on the main navigation and move right along here. So the next section I want to look at is phone calls. And so we select that, and we can see there's the phone call that we had just made to Janet Bailey just a couple minutes ago. We can also see other ones, and just like in the time entry list, we can click the gear at the top, and that allows us to both change our date range and also whether I want to filter to see incoming or outgoing or all of my phone calls. So the other thing I want to point out too is that the phone call was easily recorded from within the Amicus Attorney mobile app because it was something that we initiated from within Amicus Attorney. So we were on the file, we said to call Janet Bailey, and we were able to be prompted for that. If we wanted to deal with an incoming call, so perhaps you had taken it already, and you want to go and then record the details of said call, just click the little plus sign up here at the top, and it will bring up a brand new phone call. And you can click here where it says File Select, tap anywhere there, and it will bring up your list of files. And again, you can choose to search if you don't see the one you're after. We'll just click on Aladdin Purchase, click up here, the check mark, and it's now put, excuse me, the Aladdin Purchase. We can also then go and click onto the contacts and choose to put in Matthew Aladdin. So we'll click on to him and press the check, press the check there. And we've now gone and selected the phone call there. And in this case, we can change that it was not, in fact, outbound, but this was one that we initiated. So we've gone and done it. And of course, you can put in your duration as well as any description. And then just like we saw before, when you click the done option at the top, it asks you if you want to go and record a time entry for that. So you can see Amicus Attorney is way ahead where it's able to make sure that you're going and tracking all of the time you're spending on your activities. We'll just say no thanks right now for this one. And we've gone and recorded that, the phone call itself there. So let's go back to the main navigation and quickly look at notes. And this is, again, you can go and create any notes assigned to files or not, but you can go and add them here or access ones that you've created recently within Amicus Attorney. Again, if you can't find the notes, you can choose to search for ones if they're not recently, oh, let's just get rid of that, not recently there. You can also click on the little gear at the top, and that can bring up some filtering. And for note purposes, it's just a matter of choosing how far into the past you want to be looking for your notes. But we can also just click the little plus sign at the top. We can create a new note, so we can go and select a file. Again, we'll put this on the blank purchase file. We can put in whatever description we want here. We'll just type in whatever we want, and we'll click Done up at the top. and we've gone and created that note. And this is true of a new note or one that you've reopened. You'll notice this option just next to the Done button at the top, where if you click onto that, it gives you an option to now convert a note, in this case, to a phone call, so that if you wanted to, if you created the notes in Amicus Attorney or on the mobile app, you've got the action to go and convert that to another record type. So in this case, you can make that into a phone call. We'll just click Dismiss down here at the bottom, and we'll click the Done, and the note itself has been created. So let's go back to the main navigation and touch on the settings a little bit. And this is, so we'll just go down here, go to Settings, and we can see at the top it's telling us a couple of things right off the bat. One, that the data itself, as I mentioned, there's a local database on your phone or tablet, whatever you happen to be using, that actually stores the information. And then you can see just below that is how often the mobile app is actually choosing to synchronize with your Amicus Attorney. And that is by default generally at 5 minutes, but I just set it to 1 minute for my demonstration here. We can see who we've logged in as, and also whether or not we want to stay logged in for purposes, for security purposes too. And then just, you can also see the version of the mobile app that we're actually running. And then the sort of final thing you can take a look at is where you can go and sign out. What you'll also be able to see is the last time we actually synchronized, and of course that's every minute that it would generally be showing that as well. So as you can see, the mobile app itself gives you some great tools to have easy access to your most important information while you're on the road. And then also, because we know everyone uses their phone for recording those phones or for making phone calls and sending those emails, we have a great means to make sure that they're properly recorded within Amicus Attorney, so that anyone looking on the matter back at the office will be able to see the full details of that. Okay, so that was a very quick overview of the mobile app itself. I want to just pop back into PowerPoint because there's a couple things that I want to talk about in terms of requirements on the back end. And so we'll just go back over to this one here, and we'll just make that not on top. And so some requirements. So in order to take advantage of the new mobile app when it does come out, you will need to update to the latest version of Amicus Attorney. So that's still coming soon, and stay tuned for notices about that. And then in order to actually be able to communicate with mobile app, your firm does need to have a license for Amicus Anywhere, and then any of the users that would want to have access to the mobile app would need to be licensed for the mobile app itself as well. And then for the purposes of what devices we support, well, with iOS, it's any device running iOS 10.2 or higher, and then for Android devices, we would need KitKat 4.4 or higher. And the form factor is designed for a phone. It certainly functions on tablets as well, but it is geared actually for use on a smaller or on a regular size phone itself. So with that was a quick overview of the mobile app. We're incredibly excited to be able to release this. So when we release the next update of Amicus Attorney, the mobile app itself will be in beta, and you'll be able to take part and actually install that and run that in your offices should you so desire. And then shortly after the initial release, it will go to the to the actual app store itself that you can that anyone will be able to download it. We will be sending, of course, communication as we get closer to that release date, but it is stay tuned because it's not too far away. So with that, I do want to thank everyone for taking some time out this afternoon to listen to or watch my presentation here, and certainly love to open it up if anyone does have any questions about the mobile app.
Alrighty, so we do have some questions, but feel free, everybody, to send them on in the questions section of the control pane. The first question comes from Andrew. What interval sync default do you recommend, 1 or 5 minutes?
Sure, yeah, that's a great question. That by default it is actually set to 5 minutes, and that is generally I would recommend that. The reality is it's unlikely that you're doing that much on your device that you would need it to synchronize every minute. I mean, it's not a burden to your system or anything. It's not doing a lot, but I would generally recommend the 5 minutes makes the most sense.
The next question is, what happens when you click Call Back button?
Oh, that's just an ability. So yeah, from a phone call, it's from a phone. Let's see if we can pull that back up. Can I bring the phone back up here? It's an ability to just go and create a new phone call record that would go back. So if we can turn this back on. So that is from a phone call itself. If you had received a call from Matthew Ladden, and yeah, I think you meant just sort of this icon here is an ability to go make a phone call right from there. That you can just click onto that, and it would then dial the call that we had, or dial that number and allow us to make another call.
Great. The next question comes from Abraham. Is there any plan to include documents in the mobile app?
Sure, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, the really exciting part about the mobile app is that once we do get the initial version out, we're able to go and provide regular releases, and it's something that is very easy for us to continue to add features and functionality. So there's a bunch of really cool features that we are looking to add in the near term, but for the initial release, it does not have the ability to view those documents on your files presently, but it's certainly something that is on our list to add in the future.
Alrighty, this next one is from Andrew again. So you can record the length of time and the date and time entry. Is there a way to record the time of day as well?
Yeah, so the phone call list, you can see that's actually the time of the phone call. So if we click onto that phone message here, we can see the date and time, and it's got an actual filter that I can go and choose to set a different date and time if I so desire. And then below that, it's showing the duration. So yeah, there's absolutely we do show, so I can put this to say 22 hours, for instance, if we wanted to, and like done. So the duration is separate from the actual timestamp that we've created on the phone call. It doesn't show the start time and end time. Instead, it has the start time really, and then its duration.
Alrighty, any more questions out there? We are more than happy to answer them with the few minutes that we have left today.
No, perhaps not. Perhaps it was very very clear, but I'm happy to. Yeah. Okay, well, I did want to do perhaps one little plug for, we do have another webinar coming up next Friday, and in that one we'll be covering the upcoming, so another feature in the next version of Amicus Attorney is the integration with the Amicus payment exchange, and that is the ability to do electronic payment processing right inside of Amicus Attorney. So I would invite you to sign up for that. My colleague Mo is going to be presenting that next Friday, and it's an awfully exciting feature that we're adding to Amicus that really does help you to cut down on collections and sort of increase cash flow, because you're able to collect payments via credit card and ACH right from within Amicus Attorney.
I see one more question that's very relevant. When will the new version of Amicus be released?
Sure, it's a great question, and I don't have a definitive release date at this time. We're very close. Please stay tuned. We'll be sure to sound the horns and send communication when we do have a release. We're just essentially dotting some I's and crossing some T's, and we'll be able to roll that out very, very soon. So we're certainly excited to get some great features out to you, but we will only do so when we are satisfied that it's exactly what we want to release.
Okay, and we'll take one. Excuse me. We'll take one more question from Robert. Are there plans to include the Amicus calendar?
Sure, yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, that just like the question about documents, that there's absolutely the desire to add additional functionality to it. The reality too is that at least in its initial release, while it doesn't have the calendar integrated with it, your iPhone or Android device does have a great calendar that you can have synchronized with your Amicus Attorney as well. So there are some options there, but you're absolutely right. We're looking to add additional calendaring functionality within the app itself. But in the interim, you would need to take advantage of the built-in calendar component on your device.
They're keeping you on top of it, Andrew. Well, thank you so much for hosting this Friday's free training. Thank you, everybody, for coming. You can always submit your ideas for what you'd like us to cover in the following free training Fridays. Just send us an email at webinars@abacusnext.com. If we missed any of your questions, we will download them from today's webinar and email you back privately. And so I just want to say thanks and be on the lookout for the recording of today's webinar.
Great. Thanks very much, everyone. Bye-bye.